Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And today is my first broadcast live stream in about 3 years on my channel. And I've decided that what I would like to do is to come here weekly. Good morning, Juan. To come here weekly and to provide information about the astrological dynamics of the week, how they will affect you. It's kind of like weather. If it's going to be stormy and rainy, you want to be sure to have your umbrella and your boots. And also to talk about some of the dynamics that are going to be happening. Oh, wow. Hi, Natalia. Hi, Katerina. Hi, Christine. I didn't know if anybody would see me and find me. Hi, Michelle. Oh, I'm so excited. I was all nervous this morning. So anyway, you guys know what I do, but just for those of you that may be watching in the playback and that are new, hi, Janine. I decided, I talk a lot every week about being brave, about being able to assess the things that are working for you and to step out sometimes into the unknown. And being an intuitive astrologer and having the planet Venus going through my 10th house retrograde, which represents government, authority, structure, I've really been thinking about how what's been happening for me this last year. And I wanted to stretch myself and sort of walk the talk that I do with others. And I thought it was time to start this program on my channel. And I'm so excited to see you all here. So, hello, Ana Claudia from Brazil. I said hi to Natalia. Okay. So excited you're all here. So this was the other thing that was interesting. We have a full moon tomorrow, January 17th in Cancer. I was listening to another astrologer on YouTube, and one of the things she commented on was that there is going to be a series of full moons. Like, I think she said there were going to be 7 of them at the 27th degree. That's the Mercury degree. And I was like, okay, wait a minute here. The 27th degree, the Mercury degree, full moons, a lot of us are going to be coming to these realizations, culminations about our thought process. And one of the things I personally, as I made this transition this week and have been thinking about it for a while, was that part of me had a certain hope and expectation, maybe an outcome that never really was realized. And I found myself wanting to villainize other people versus taking responsibility myself. And so I started to ask myself where I was afraid and what I was pretending not to know. And that was what we talked about a few weeks back, if you guys remember, about Venus having her conversation with Pluto. So guess what the full moon is doing? It's opposing Pluto. Okay. And Uranus is stationing in Taurus, and it's making an aspect to Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. So this all seemed very trust your gut. It's time to be brave and not mad, not doing something as a knee-jerk reaction to something I might feel or imagined or had hoped would happen, and it just wasn't realized. Is that bad or is that good? Because I have often found that things I thought would be super beneficial for me ended up only having a certain shelf life. And once it reached that expiration date, my fears of growth were what keeping me from being where I wanted to be. So here we are. All of us, our tribe on my channel, and I'm going to be doing this here every Sunday. I'm going to talk about the laws of attraction in addition to astrology because, hi, Shelly, welcome. If I didn't say hi to you, wave your hand at me because I really want to say hi to everybody and welcome you here. I'm so happy to see you. I want to really kind of broaden the scope of what we talk about here. So we take astrology and we apply it in an intuitive way. Because when I looked at the transits, oh boy, Venus retrograde, by my midheaven no less, and Mercury retrograde and Saturn making this aspect to me. We won't even talk about the Pluto stuff and my ascendant and everything, and now it's aspecting Mars. So my point is this. I just got distracted by myself. I feel like it was important for me to go into a place that looked at the weather, the astrological weather, and decide if I had the equipment to go through whatever storm may be there. It's not always trying to avoid the storm or avoid the landscape. It's about the tools and the evolution you have into that dynamic. So that's where I'm going with that. So let me quickly, are you still wanting to be a moderator? I'm going to make you a moderator right now. So you're back to you got your wrench, because you got to have your wrench. Otherwise, you're not small wildflowers. There she is in blue. Okay. All right. I'm feeling God, you guys, you have no idea how much anxiety I had about this morning. I got to tell you. So I'm so excited to see you all. Shelly, everybody. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about this Pluto dynamic with the in opposition to this full moon, because this is also very pivotal for the people who live in the United States, as well as the ripple effect that the United States has throughout the world. The United States has its par of fortune in Cancer, the 8th house at 26 degrees. This is also opposing Pluto, and the United States is coming next month into its Pluto return. So for the first time since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, our country is going to look at a deep, deep, deep truth of who and what we are and how we show up in the world, how we truly nurture. That's how we proposed ourselves. So I bring this up because this is sort of the ripple effect of how we perceive certain things. So I want to offer this. As we contemplate, how do we feel? Because this full moon could actually bring eruptions. It was something I was very aware of. I didn't want to make any actions based on an old story of villainizing another situation or another person in order to validate my move forward. So I really prayed about it. And even though I've been vacillating with my Aries rising and wanting to sort of be like, it's still okay. Everybody gets to show up as they are. So we're going to be here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific, like we were before. And starting probably next month, I'm going to be giving away monthly readings. Only one, and it's going to be for an hour rather than trying to give away half hours. So I haven't quite figured out the system. That number system was kind of annoying. And I want to create something where you guys can actually feel the win-win a little more directly versus that random thing I did before. So that's kind of fun. And what was another thing I was going to say? Oh, and we are going to talk a little bit more about the laws of attraction, the law of allowing, the laws of the universe that we are here to implement so that we can feel like the magician. As above, so below, understanding that our thoughts aren't here to be perfected. They're to be looked at and analyzed in such a way. Does it serve where I want to go and who I want to be and the ripple effect of how I want my life to show up? Because we know perfectly well when you walk through the world with a chip on your shoulder, you seem to see everything that has a chip in it. And it seems sometimes that the happy-go-lucky people who don't seem to keep anything, they're like ducks, just runs off their back, they seem to attract a different something. That's a vibrational thing. So let's go into our readings. And I don't know, should I start with Pisces like I always do? Or should we start with Aries? I'm going to see a show of hands. I'm kind of all for the Pisces thing. Hi, Stephen. I was hoping that you would find me. Hi, Maureen. I said hi to Janine, Jules. So what do you say? Should I start with Pisces again? Okay. Shelley likes the Pisces. All right. I got a thumbs up for that. Start with Virgo. How will I ever keep track of that? Hi, Nikki. So good to see you here. Oh, I'm so, oh, you guys have no idea how warm I am. Penelope, Anna. Okay. And thank you, Juan, for doing the timestamps for those that find me and realize that I jaw on and on and on. And they'll be like, oh, where's the timestamp? So we're going to do our start with our weekly readings. We'll start with our Aurora. I'm gonna go with the Pisces. It's just I've been doing it for so long, it almost feels like second nature to me, and also it's very reflective. My Uranus in Leo. So Les, welcome. Okay, and we will have timestamps, you guys. So Juan is always so gracious to do those, so you can get through all of my nonsense, which I don't think is nonsense, and you can go directly to the readings. What was the other thing I was going to say? I don't know. It'll come back to me. So here we go. Let's start with our Pisces rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And Pisces, and everybody, but I want to just say for Pisces, be aware that Jupiter has moved into Pisces and is starting to make its connection with Neptune. Lucky is having a moment. We're still in the tail end of that situation with him. Anyway, and so I want to offer this because there can be a little feeling of getting heavy-handed with food and drink, but I want to offer this. I really feel like Neptune might be moving out a little bit of the fog. The ocean seas may be a little bit clearer as Jupiter shows up, and there may be a call to bravery for others. And I feel like this is where we get to really watch as Venus starts to go back into her conversation with Jupiter, because that final conversation is going to include Mars, that one that's happening in around March. So we want to prepare in this next month or so. So here we go. So there's going to be illuminations. That's the other thing that I was going to mention. So I was watching another astrologer, and she was talking about the full moons. I think she said there were going to be 7 in total. I'm not sure when it started, but as I looked ahead, the next 4 full moons are all at the 27th degree. 27th degree is the Gemini degree. It's the degree of our everyday lives. It's the degree of our media. It's the degree of our children, in school age children. It's the degree of our thinking, writing, teaching, speaking, etc. So I feel like right now, when we put all the elements of what's happening with the Pluto return and the opposition it creates to Mercury in the 8th house of Cancer for the United States, and all of these other elements, that we are being charged as a tribe to look at our natural habits of reaction. I'm going there again because I'm a warrior. So my natural habit of reaction was to want to lash out. And thank God I've had my second Saturn return, because now I know the wisdom of not lashing out, but looking at why I want to lash out. Because this moon, full moon tomorrow in opposition to Pluto, which is making, obviously the sun is conjunct Pluto, could create eruptions. It could create buried feelings and feelings of insecurity. And when we put the Cancer crab crawl into it, that makes us kind of want to go kaboom. And I feel like there's one thing to let off steam, and it's another thing to be constructive. And sometimes I've let off steam rather than being constructive. And I really, really want to be constructive. And one of the things I want to be constructive is getting this darn tree down, but we'll see about that later. Okay. So I want to wish everybody happy birthday. Nikki, happy birthday on Saturday. Venus will be direct by then. That's nice. All right. So let's start with our Pisces. And I'm going to just do the angel cards today and the Camelot deck, and we'll worry about some expansion later. Okay, here we go. Well, did I say hi to Anna? Welcome, Anna. I want to say hi to everybody. All right, let's see. Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Bethany. The second is Serena. The third is Celeste. And the final is Archangel Uriel. When I was younger, I used to think that if I got into an argument with someone, they would just disappear out of my life. And this is when I worked in Hollywood. And I found out more times than not, they were never out of my life. And the only thing that sat between me and my forward movement in my Hollywood career was my anger, because I started to get a reputation for how I was kind of blunt and a little bit unyielding is a word I would use. So I say this because as Neptune and Jupiter become more aligned before Jupiter goes retrograde again, you may become very impassioned. There may be like almost a negative reaction depending upon your natal chart in how you process this, because it could be a spiritual awakening that is amazing, but it may come on the heels of a little bit of an annoyance or a blowout or something like that, because we have Archangel Uriel in the final position this week, and the full moon may illuminate something that you don't necessarily take action on right away, but it starts to brew in the underbelly. Hello, Pluto, right? The underbelly. Okay. Here we go. Bethany is being joined by Merlin. Serena's being joined by the Burden card. Celeste is being joined by the Queen. And Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Mystery card. Okay, so for my Pisces, I want to say this, especially Pisces moon. You're such a sweet, loving sign. And, sometimes you would just rather swim away than to stand up for yourself. And I don't know if this is about standing up for yourself in communication, but I do think that it's about purporting balance. That's Merlin, in how you're taking care of yourself. And I want to go to the Mercury retrograde and the Venus retrograde, because Venus is your best friend. She loves being at your house. It's like two girls sitting back, watching TV together and having their popcorn and movies and watching, Sex in the City. And I feel like this is about, for Pisces, looking at how you are taking care of yourself and allowing yourself to start to not, how do I want to phrase this? It's not about the situation. It's about how you're swimming through the situation. Because I think part of it is with the natural kind of wanting to swim away from confrontation or from something that doesn't feel pretty. Maybe you can see the pretty in something that isn't pretty, because I feel like the burden for my Pisces this full moon may be sitting in serenity, because part of you has shifted to where you want to be, and part of you may be waiting to receive it. The angels, the Celeste card, it's about a job or a move. So those potentials could very much be on the table, but it is about the law of allowing, and in some ways to allow for the disruption, because in the final position is Archangel Uriel and the Mystery card. And I don't think this is you being angry. I think it's how you deal with anger or frustration that's coming towards you. So, because it may be that your natural response is to either acquiesce to the other person, or to, obviously I said swim away, or to give up your power or defend yourself. And I feel like this is really a little bit about balance. And the balance is that if indeed your reaction to a situation is to over nurture, hello, this is the full moon in Cancer, and you're over nurturing, or you're nurturing with a vibration that's saying, I hope you'll take care of me because I've been taking care of you, and it doesn't happen. Because I think the part of it is being serene to allow things to rise to the surface. This is almost like the storm of Pluto is like asking you to float on your back versus trying to swim through it right now. Because indeed, you may be getting a new job. And if that is indeed what you've been putting out there, part of your job is to allow it to come in, because fretting is a block. Frustration is a block. And this is ultimately karma for me, because I don't believe bad things happen to us. I believe the choices come up. Pluto brings up a possibility for choices. And what choice will you make is really where the quote unquote karma comes in. So I think this full moon may illuminate something that requires Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums to look at your reaction to things. And then to allow, as Neptune and Jupiter's beautiful energy starts to commingle within your sign, to ask yourself if you are really aligned to getting what you want. And if you are aligned, then not to run out and celebrate, because that might make you a little nervous, but to celebrate in reception. I am willing to receive this Christmas. Okay, maybe I just can't let go of Christmas, right? But this stupid coaster has been haunting me. Can you read it? Let your heart be light. And the whole time I'm like, I don't know, can I let my heart be light? Maybe I've been so, post-traumatic stress syndrome from struggling to find and capture my happiness that I don't know how to really sit in it. So this is practicing sitting in it and going to your intuitive place where you've been making magic, and now it's time for you to believe it. All right, let's go on to our Aquarius. Rising moon, sun, and sun. I can't even tell you how happy I am to see you guys here today. Like, I really sat in such a crazy unknowing, because when I logged off of the other channel, there's no logging back in. I mean, not now. It was sort of like, something I said to myself. So I'm just so pleased as punched to see you guys find such value in our community, that you're here. Okay, let's go on to our Aquariuses. Congratulations, Stephen. You just keep saying that. When I get my new job, it's coming. It's right here. I know. Can you believe the tree is still up? Oh, my goodness gracious. I'm telling you, I just have no motivation to take it down. Plus, I've been super busy. Thank you, God. To pay for this new computer. Oh, yay. Oh, I'm just so happy to see you all. My goodness. Okay. Here we go. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. So, as I listen to these astrologers, and I love them so much because I learn so much from them, but I feel like the planets are talking to me a lot. And I have this this Neptune, Mercury thing, and my Par of Fortune all in Scorpio. So Saturn has been telling me that he is a very, very strong disciplinarian, but he's super, super tired of everybody talking about how he ate his children. Okay, because he says he's trying to move beyond that, just as we all are. So Saturn in Aquarius is asking us to rewrite our structure, right? It's asking us not to, the whole world is aligned to this right now. How many people have been working from home and don't really want to spend 100% of time at home, but don't want to have to go to the office either? And the combination is not only good for our psyche, it's great for the environment. When COVID first happened, we saw environmentally so much pollution drop. And this is Uranus in Taurus. So we're going to start to really see, and Uranus is stationing, by the way, about to go direct. She's going, or I don't know if I should call direct, Uranus a woman. Uranus may be transgender. I don't know. Whatever she is, she's different and unusual, and I love her. So because she just constantly feels like she's not trying to blow up my world, but when I'm not paying attention to how my world, I'm sitting on my fear, she starts to stoke things with a little lightning. So this is Saturn and Uranus working in tandem to sort of blow things up. Now we have Saturn going through the natural sign of Aquarius, which is why I'm bringing this up, because it's also going to make an aspect to Leo. And if you're a Leo, if there's somewhere you're hiding your heart and things you want, this Saturn energy may feel like it's pulling you like this, but it's not pulling you to pull you under. It's pulling you so you'll stop and go, you know what? It's time to be authentic. And that's part of why we're sitting here today, because I had to start to walk my talk and really be brave. And frankly, aging has freaked me out. And I think, and I don't know what I was thinking. All I know is I was scared. I thought I needed somebody else, and maybe I don't. Maybe I do. I don't know. All right, Aquarius, here we go. Oop. All right, here we go. Aquarius, our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Teresa. The third is Ray. And the final is Isaiah. I've been seeing so much, I feel like I've been seeing symbols in my meditations of technology shifting. And I'm getting this idea that some of us right now, and I'm going to go to Aquarius because this seems like it's probably you, there's an element of technology that is either being developed or will be developed or is starting to be implemented that may very much affect how you do your work. I was watching one of those cooking shows with Gordon Ramsay. I think it's the new one, Next Level. And there was a gal on there, and she is a live streaming chef. And she mentioned a platform. I can't remember what it was, but I hadn't heard of it before. And I was like, oh, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's going to be opportunities coming in. If Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums are frustrated, it's a little bit more about continuing to hone your idea, continuing to, reassess, relook at, open up, allow the spirit to bring you resources coming to you. Archangel Uriel is talking about frustration and anger, and this moon could very much, yes, Stephen, yes, that one. This moon opposing Pluto, I really do think people could have a moment of, I feel like it's the people that you don't expect to get angry will get angry. The people that are usually quiet might be the people who erupt. Okay, so Archangel Uriel is with the protection card. Teresa is with the restriction card. Ray is with the dragon. And Isaiah is with the wind fairy. Okay, so this kind of is going to confirm this for me because you're being protected. And look at the 38 is an 11, and the 11 is the master number of thought. While things are aligning up to create a dynamic for you to be able to be successful. You guys, I've talked a long time how since I was 17 years old and I'm 62 now, I played with the tarot. All I wanted to do was empower people to talk about spirituality. I read every book I could find in the 80s, and then I started practicing myself. But I was under restriction because the universe, the world had not caught up to this yet. Only NASA and the government had computers. So here's Teresa telling you not to worry about other people and not to be concerned about the pause. That right now you are still in a situation where you are going to either discover a new platform or something's going to come up or you're going to run across it. Maybe you'll do TikToks. I don't know what it is, but I think you're going to implement technology into the next dynamic because here's Ray telling you to connect with the deeper part of your power. And this is through meditation in a calm way to help you not swirl in the frustration, okay? Because that Uranus part could be feeling like, I just want to blow things up. And with Uranus stationing, okay, it's hovered around my moon forever. So I was not surprised that at the third time, it finally showed itself up because I've gotten through the first two passes without any big blow ups. But at the same time, not that this was a blow up of any kind, but it was an epiphany, a lightning moment for me about my own fears. Because for Aquarius, here's the wind fairy. And I'm not really thinking this is about thought. I'm thinking this is directly related to the frustration of not being able to implement yet. Whatever innovation, whatever ideas you have, whatever you want to move forward into a new lane. And Isaiah is another angel saying you're being protected as you give life to new ideas and new situations. So I think there's a little something. Hold on a second. Lucky is just walking around like, I think he's too full. I gave him a really big treat so I could get in the shower and blow dry my hair without him chewing on himself. All right. So that's for Aquarius. I want to say this too, because when you're looking this week, I think part of the protection and what can illuminate through this full moon is how you're self-nurturing. Okay. That's one of the big things about Cancer is that with that mothering energy, it tends to very much think that I need to make sure everyone else is fed before I'm fed. But if you're not fed, then you're not able to have the energy to do what you need to do. So remember that your emotions are important. Don't judge yourself, but also at the same time, I think a little bit of understanding that sometimes things are out of your hands, and the respect that we're co-creating with the universe. And the universe is bringing elements, dynamics, not just technology, but people to be able to access that technology. So here we go. It's going to be an illuminating week. And if you have a little bit of an argument with somebody, well, you're fine. That's all I can say. The other day I had a reading with somebody, and I was like, I don't know, it was a relationship reading. And I said, sometimes when we're angry, we forget, we sort of just, say it like we think it, and we never think about how it's being received. And the woman turned to me and said, "Oh, you mean the golden rule?" I know it sounds silly, but you guys, I really, really want to think about the golden rule right now, not for the other person, but for myself. Because if for some reason Aquarius has a bit of a blow up, it's not about having the blow up. And if any of us have a blow up, because it's highly likely this week with this moon and with Mercury retrograde going, "Ooh, what am I thinking? How am I being treated by my teammates, my workmates?" There's so much energy. And anyway, Venus, the whole bit. So just be gentle with yourself. It's not about not expressing your anger, but it's also about expressing it in a way that's constructive enough for you to be able to come back and feel proud of yourself during an icky situation. Because it may not be you. You may be the subject of it. Someone may be mad at you. All right, here we go. On to our Capricorns. Capricorn haven't had a break since 2008. It's been the hot spot in the... And when I think about it, if I'd paid attention to the United States chart and the stellium it has in the 8th house of Cancer, it made so much sense, because we had our first African-American president when Pluto entered Capricorn, revolutionizing us, transforming us. That was very, very monumental, and it's continuing to do so. So as we assess what's going to make us feel happy, it's going to make us feel fulfilled. All right. Capricorn, our first angel is Indriel. The second is Shanti. The third is Patience. And the final is Adriana. Oh, yeah. I'm good for you, Stephen. I'm still feeling a little discombobulated. I don't know. Yesterday I had some weird things going on. I think Uranus, when it makes aspects to my moon, like it sometimes messes with my computer when I'm doing readings. I couldn't get it with this woman. It was really challenging. We figured it out, but okay. Capricorn, Indriel, is being joined by the dog. Shanti is being joined by the horse. Patience is being joined by the love card. And Adriana is being joined by the burden card. Okay, so the first thing I think about this for Capricorn rising moon, its sun and stelliums, is sometimes because Saturn and Capricorn in general likes to see material manifestation. I want that title. I want that love interest. I want it here right now in the physical world. And Indriel is the light worker in the foundational position. And the dog is here. Unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. For my Capricorns, I think that this Cancer full moon may illuminate even more so that you do want a partner. And while I really love the Capricorn energy. I'm sorry, I do. My Venus is at the Capricorn degree. Most of the significant men in my life have been Capricorns. In fact, all of them. And I feel like the leadership they display is something that's very attractive. Now you add that to somebody who's loving and kind, and you got a freaking winner. And I feel like that is what is going on. It's now an opportunity for my Capricorns to take this Cancer energy and not about nurturing others, but knowing that there's a part of you that needs to be loved in a more tender way. And as you just open up, you don't have to turn into goopy or anything, but here's Shanti, the angel angel of peace, and there's the horse galloping towards the peace. And while I like to think of this as Sagittarius, here we are talking about Capricorn moving towards peace, and not peace outside of themselves, but peace here. Peace of being able to understand a situation from less of a stoic place, to use the stoic energy of Saturn in the direction that makes you feel fulfilled and true to yourself. Because the angels are saying there's love. And I really think this is not just outside love, it's inside love. It's more appreciation, feeling more connected to others, because patience is saying now is a time to observe, to study, because you're going to synthesize this and put this into the material. Now, let me offer this, because Cancer and Capricorn naturally oppose each other, right? Cancer can sometimes be overly nurturing and in that way be a little insecure, because it's like, do you love me back? Do you love me back? And then we go to Capricorn and it's like, I love you because I make you do your homework. I love you because I'm teaching you how to be responsible. Now, neither one of those feel too good in their extreme. But when you put them together in a more balanced way, you have really authentic love. So I think that's what's going on. I think that this full moon is going to illuminate for Cancer. I'm sorry, for Capricorn. This Cancer full moon is going to illuminate not only all the love in your life, the love energy in your life. And as you walk towards, as you're being led, Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayer. This burden card feels like it has to do with vulnerability, of not always having control of things. And in some ways, I don't feel like it's like having to emote to the outside world, but almost letting the shell, I'm never surprised. You think of the military and you think of the stoic nature of what has to be done when you're in the military. And Saturn in Capricorn to me is very military. And so this is where I have to sort of let my hard shell calm down so that I can start to feel love and see the wisdom of the polarity of light and dark. I recently watched The Shack again after a long time. And I didn't realize it's a pretty dark movie, actually, but boy, is it enlightening. And does it make so much sense of love, and how love isn't about scooping people up from harm or danger. Sometimes it's just about understanding the journey of how we play roles for each other in our lives that present those opportunities for those choices that stand in love. Okay, hope that made sense, because this feels very pivotal. Again, we're talking about, Capricorn, we're talking about Pluto still hanging out there, making an opposition to the moon. We're talking about Venus in the same sign. And we have, Mercury heading back that direction, Mars going this way. Okay. I had a tsunami warning here too. The waves didn't seem that big, but you could smell the ocean for the first time in a long time, which is fun. Okay, here we go. On to our Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. This is going to happen in your 8th house. I only know that because I've been talking about the United States. How do you want to transform? And I want to offer this way because I think this is an opportunity for Sagittarius in general to really play with this conversation that Jupiter and Neptune are going to have together. I think that there's an opportunity for you in general to, I almost feel like it's like as if you are, I don't know, I guess willing to stand up and be as strong as Jupiter wants you to be. It's almost as if Neptune is saying, no longer do I want you to be egoless. That sometimes it is being egoless when we are willing to stand behind our own beliefs and to not villainize others that don't believe us, but just to be able to stand in the vibration of our beliefs. So this may be something that's very strong happening for my Sagittariuses. I'm not talking about your beliefs against the man. I'm talking about your beliefs at a deeper level, at the 12th house level, that Piscean level of, where are your karmic beliefs coming in, versus maybe the beliefs that you've been assigned. Okay, here we go. I know, Jenny B, there are a lot of very exciting conversations. And I think that, frankly, I really believe that when I'm honest with myself, and I think that's what I've been going through as Venus has been retrograde in my 10th house, it's like there's a part of me that is very frustrated on one level and wanting to go outside and go, well, this didn't happen and that didn't happen. And at the same time, I feel like when I go there, I'm really missing the bigger picture, which is, what am I afraid? What am I pretending not to know? Hey, Scott, you found us. Welcome, welcome. This is our new home on Sundays at 11. Okay, here we go. Let's go on with our Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's get the show on the road. All right, here we go. Our first angel for Sagittarius is Maya, the angel of schooling and education. Then we have Chantal, the angel of romance. Then we have Bridget, the angel of looking deeper. She's kind of Plutonian to me. And then we have Indriel. And I want to make Pluto my friend, okay? At least I have to in my mind's eye, because Pluto is scoring me for such a long time and it was conjunct so many of my personal planets throughout my life, that I feel as if to fight Pluto now is to be ridiculous. So now if Pluto is asking me, Teri, where are you giving up your power to somebody else in many areas of your life? And maybe that's the shadow side of Aries, wanting to stay stuck in your resentment, and, I'm justified. So I'm taking that off the table. All right, Sagittarius, Maya is teaching you about your communication. And I want to offer this because it's not just the communication you're doing outside. It's all things Geminian. It's what you're saturating yourself in, how you're communicating to others. Chantal is asking you to look at your perception of your love life, and not because you're looking at it from what's happening to you, but if you're really brave, are you co-creating a situation? Having this moon be in your 8th house. And I know this is the only house I've been talking about so far, because it's the same as the United States. It's just hitting me in the brain that the 8th house naturally rules other people's money, other people's support. And am I somehow, again, on a shadow side, giving up my power, imagining that person who seems so capable of supporting me is supporting me when they really are not? Because Bridget and the burden card are in the angel's advice, and Indriel and the truth card are in the final position. So what I want to say is that right now, Sagittarius, with your ruling planet creeping towards Neptune, I think this is a perfect time to really go into how you're not only how you're communicating with others, and again, how you're thinking, but how you're receiving information, how you're receiving communications. Because Chantal, while she talks about intimate romance, I think it's an opportunity for you to receive love bigger. As I've gotten older, and this is when that coaster, Let Your Heart Be Light, really hit me in the head, because I don't know if I can do that easily. I talk about it all the time, but Teri, the human, she is human, and she's lived a lifetime with a lot of judgment and criticism coming at her. So feeling loved and feeling that is not always easy for me. So I have to look at where the habits are, because Sagittarius, Bridget is like acting like Pluto and asking you where you're holding onto your own burden right now. Where is your perception of love actually recreating a situation? And maybe you can take this full moon right now and truly liberate yourself from that old perception, because Indriel and the truth card are here together. And the truth card, and this is where I really got sort of annoyed when I was growing up and learning about spirituality, because when I was a co-creator, when I found out I was a co-creator, part of me was so excited. And then the other part of me was, oh shit. So if I'm a co-creator, I co-create all the bullshit too. I co-create all the mean people and all the people who don't even acknowledge me and ghost me for no reason. Why? Maybe they're to propel me. Maybe those people that are ghosting me and being rude to me are actually propelling me because of that into a space where can experience the truth of who I am. A light worker. You're ruled by Jupiter. You're coming into this 12th house of spirituality, of meditation, of taking time to really connect with the deeper belief that you have, Sagittarius, and how you're teaching on some level yourself and others how to interact with you on many levels. Because it's so fascinating when one person can sort of identify their participation, and it doesn't necessarily completely change the situation, but it can absolutely change the attitude. So that's where I'm going. I don't know if you guys remember, but I have this kind of crazy, weird neighbor over here, and she's been under construction on her patio for almost 3 years now. It's ridiculous. So I was so annoyed that I decided I was going to put something beautiful to block her out on my patio. And what ended up happening is my perception changed because I got into the beauty of creating the patio's appearance. And so it stopped being about avoiding her energy and instead creating my own energy. So that was very, very powerful for me. So now I'm going to go on to our Scorpios. But before I do, I've got to say to Stephen, I totally get the heavy smoker next door. Oh my God, this happened to me a few months ago. Okay. And I literally lost my mind. Like it was filling my whole apartment and I couldn't breathe. The more angry I got about it, the more incensed I got about it, the worse it got. This was my theme of this last 21, is every time I went to war, I didn't do well. I had to be a much more strategic person. So I sat back and I said to Spirit, I can't be sending no love to these cigarette smokers, but I can participate in my own resistance to them. So I surrender my resistance now, inspire them to move and go smoke somewhere else. And what ended up happening was I found that space again. You know, I've had Pluto opposing my home because I have that 10th house Capricorn. So it was really, really powerful for me to see, like, because I thought Spirit was trying to move me out of my apartment. And they weren't trying to move me out of my apartment. They were trying to move me out of my mindset. So, Stephen, I don't want you to send the heavy smoker love, but I do want you to send your guides in to block the smoke from you, to make them feel like somehow you're just missing each other. They're smoking somewhere else. They've been inspired to go smoke outside. They've fallen in love with a non-smoker. Who knows? But just send them with love. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios. Rising, moon, sun, and stallions. Well, it's, you know, the problem is when you smoke, you love smoking. I loved smoking. But when you don't smoke and you've quit, you've had to build a resistance to not go into temptation. And that not, you know, and then after a while, honestly, it does smell different. It's almost like your chemistry changes. So I try not to be, you know, pointing fingers because I get it, you know, I get it. Tebow, is that you? Are you here with us today? Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see you. I really do. I mean, if smoking wouldn't kill you and if it didn't smell, I would totally smoke. I'm telling you, it's kind of fun. But I can't do it anymore. And I keep hearing this, like how I quit smoking, just so small, is that doing this work, I thought to myself, is this an act of self-love? If I'm helping people love themselves, don't I have to love myself too? If I'm asking and telling people to be brave and in moving towards what makes them happy or what they think will make them happy, isn't it my job to be brave and demonstrate that? So what I did was I just kept asking myself every day if this was an act of self-love. And some days I actually wanted to smoke. So I would like go next door to the guy and give him $1 for a cigarette. Cause I thought, well, if I'm going to do the crime, I'm going to do the time, and I would pay him. And then finally, it took me a decade of really getting serious. And before I turned 50, every day that I didn't smoke was a day that I was demonstrating self-love, and a day I was moving closer to living the life I'd always dreamt that I would live. So it stopped being about cigarettes. And it started being about, I want to be in good shape when everything starts coming into play. I don't want to be all. Ugh. So ask yourself deeper questions, you guys, because the habits that we have, they come from somewhere. And usually, when I started smoking, I can remember as a little girl starting to smoke. And then when my dad was the only person who smoked, it was the only bond we had. He never even talked to me unless we were smoking together. So I didn't want to quit. So I love my gang too. I'm so happy to see everybody here. I can't even tell you. All right, Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Grace and Antoinette. The second is Teresa. The third is Astera. And the final is Bridget. So this full moon is making an aspect to your ruling planet. And, again, we got to look at Pluto, and we cannot make Pluto all about criminals and the mafia and, aberrated sex and people who kill each other for money. It is the planet that has a huge ice heart. And I don't know, I think it's bigger than 600 miles. I can't remember. They told him in kilometers, and I don't think I got the calculation correct, but that ice is not about being cold-hearted. It's about being cold-hearted enough not to succumb to the power and control of another through their money, through their sex, through what they support, the fake support. Okay, Grace and Antoinette, Scorpio, is being joined by disruption. Teresa is being joined by the restriction card. Astera is being joined by the serpent. And Bridget is being joined by the mystery card. So this is what I want to say. I know this is an emotional moon. I mean, you got to think about it. Cancer's emotional. It's loving. It's intuitive. Pluto is ridiculously intuitive because Pluto will not lie to itself. Pluto is like, I'm getting to the bottom of this and I'm taking no prisoners. Now we have two energies supporting that in an opposition to what isn't working. So, and this is what I want to say too, is because sometimes a disruption is unbeknownst leads us to the most amazing thing that we can't anticipate. And I don't know if you guys remember the story of when I moved into my apartment, I lost everything I own in the move. It was stolen. And if I had found this apartment with all of my washer and my dryer and my millions of dishes and all the shit I had, I never would have fit in here and I wouldn't have taken it. And it's been a blessing to have it. So Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, disruption's coming. And your ability to have compassion for the process, to dig deeper into every moment and not to look at yourself as a victim of that disruption, but to almost say to yourself, you know what? I think I kind of wanted this thing to blow up. I kind of wanted this thing to come to some sort of conclusion, because Teresa is the card of worrying about other people, and there's the restriction card. And this is kind of where I think that cold heart comes into play. It's not about being cold to others, but you really do serve them when you let what your deeper truth is and what you know about your own true power, your own true ability to create. And when you go into that, when Pluto and Venus have that last conversation about what are you pretending not to know about your value, about how you make your money, about how you allow yourself to be treated in love, it's going to be very illuminating. And I want to offer this too, because that conjunction is coming up, I think, at the beginning of March. I don't have the exact date, but it scares me a little bit because unconscious people, there could be domestic violence with Mars and Venus and Pluto all hanging out together. Could be very, very intense. But at the same time, for those that are aware and illuminated and being brave about that awareness, how am I contributing to my situation, even if I'm the disempowered one in it? Because I think that Astera is asking you to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. And there is the snake, which is asking you to allow yourself to shed a skin. And that skin feels like it has a lot to do with connections to other people that are disempowering you. And those people, if they're the powerful ones in the situation, they may be not liking your choices, and they may even get more assertive in their control over you. And that might get scary, because Bridget is asking you really to look deeper. Again, Plutonian, into your choices. Because if you're going to feel the power of your truth, and if you're really going to start to live in that truth, I think Pluto's going to have to transform. And that transformation, as we know, Pluto doesn't take prisoners. Pluto doesn't say, oh, do you want to transform right now? Pluto's more like, hey, what are you pretending not to know? Because there's something coming up right behind you, and I can't stop it. Only you can stop it. And sometimes it's not even stopping it. Sometimes it's just being wise enough to dodge it and let it go by. Like that old boyfriend that calls you back after nowhere, and you know it doesn't work. You know how he is, and yet he shows up. He's being all sweet and nice, and he's the version of him that you wanted to experience, the version you always hoped he would be. And in the back of your head, you're going, he's going to revert back. The minute I say yes, he's going to end up being that person again. So this is what I'm talking about. It could be an employer, it could be a relative, it could be yourself in some ways, and it could be a lover. But it's time to look deeper, Scorpio, and to get clean. And when you get clean, then you can really, then that opens the space for the new beginning. Okay, let's go. Oh, Tebow, how do you know it was in the furniture store? Is it inside the couch? The first thing I thought was, did you sit on a couch or some cushy thing and it fell out? Was it in your back pocket and it fell out into the couch? Or the furniture? All right, here we go. Libra. Oh, I didn't sing it, small. Here we go. Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I think it fell into the couch somehow. I don't think it was stolen. I don't even think anybody found it. Doesn't feel like a very big wallet to me, or it's not very fat. All right, here we go. Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Akasha, the spiritual teacher. The second is Azure. The third is Yvonne. And the final is Serafina. Okay, so you guys know that I'm a Libra sun. And I sit here on Sunday in some ways as your teacher. And look at this. I was scared to be vulnerable to move over here. And here we are. You're all here. I'm not scared anymore. I don't have butterflies. I was so nervous all morning, walking the dog, feeling like I was going to get into trouble. I felt like I abandoned you all. Okay. Oh my God. The raven is joining Akasha. The hawk is joining Azure. The high priestess is joining Yvonne. And Serafina is being joined by the communications card. Okay. Akasha is the spiritual teacher. And I want to offer this because I think more often than not, unbeknownst to ourselves, we are constantly teaching as we walk through the world, because we're teaching people, where our limits are, what our capabilities are. And when I say limits, I'm thinking like limits like, the first time your boyfriend or your girlfriend does something crappy, how do they apologize? And how do you, we start to just give people information about ourselves without even realizing it. And when I do a reading, oftentimes, especially if it's a new person, I'm like, don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. Yes or no, because I think the timing is right for Libra. Now let's look at this. This is a Cancer full moon that squares you. And if indeed you're a Libra sun, as I am, it sits in that fourth house of home. But I want to offer it this way, where whatever house it is sitting in, whatever it is meant for you on some level to realize that you are teaching others about you. And if you are overly cooperative, if you're overly in that, it's very Cancerian sometimes what Libra does. Oh, I'm going to be really cooperative and hope that you'll be cooperative back to me. And then you're not. And then the Libra thing happens, where it gets a little like passive aggressive, because now is the timing is right for you to own that you're teaching people things and to start to capitalize on the magic of what you want to teach them, because you've gone through the ringer. Pluto has taken you into the underworld. It's been squaring your sun. It's been squaring your moon. If you're a Libra ascendant, it's been squaring that too. And it's not done if you're a late born Libra. So the more you're willing to give into that transformation, what am I pretending not to know? What I'm pretending not to know is maybe, Libra, you have value. Maybe your value is because you bring beauty and peace and diplomacy and fairness. And if you're not demonstrating fairness to yourself, well, then that Cancer is going to say to you, what are you pretending not to know, in the way you're self-nurturing? Because as you're saying, your desired will happen in the very near future. Of patience and faith, and don't try to force it. And then the Hawk Libra is that 11. And it's about rising above a situation in some ways. But this happens, Azure happens for Libra. It happens because you realize on some level that it isn't about completely shutting down. It isn't about completely overpowering, but about this rhythm that the world and you and the universe all, and the people within it, all work in tandem. So as I pay attention to how I show up, it doesn't matter sometimes what I'm thinking here, because the darkness in here, the underworld that I'm thinking in here, is the empowerment exercise when it doesn't come out unconsciously somewhere else. Because there is an inner knowing that Libra must be vulnerable to themselves, and knowing that they are coming to a more aligned place for what they want. That the disruption that's been happening is the signs that are nurturing and cooperative. In their imbalance, they tend to, and I say this lovingly, look at someone else and say, I'm going to keep giving to you. I'm going to keep giving to you. I'm going to keep giving to you. And what they're really saying is, I'm waiting for you to get back to me. I'm waiting for you to get back to me. I'm waiting for you to get back to me. And the other person doesn't always want to do that. So now I feel like the Raven has really brought an awareness to how you communicate, not just with others, but with yourself, and how we can lovingly assert our boundaries in a healthy way that actually lets somebody else off the hook for our happiness. So I think, Libra, as you step into this awareness that everything you do in some ways is teaching other people about how you respond and how you process things, then you're going to be more able to align to your participation, which will then change your own inner feelings of powerlessness. Oh, I want to cooperate. Why don't they want to cooperate back with me? Most people want what they want. They don't think about the give and take. And that's the energy exchange, not the money exchange. Okay. Because I was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to go on to Virgo now. But, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about anxiety lately and feeling anxious. And, I'm not personally very sympathetic for anxiety. Because to me, it's always felt like the lie you tell yourself. You're anxious because, you don't like that job, and you don't like it, but you need that job. And you talked yourself into some sort of weird golden noose thing. So I just want to kind of offer this, that as if you're feeling anxious this coming week, if this emotional full moon in any way is making things start to bubble, rather than putting blame on yourself, on another person, on the situation, trying to really look at, is this discomfort, is the bubbling up actually the thing that's going to propel me into a more aligned place? And so in that situation, can I find gratitude for that discomfort? All right, Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay. Virgo, our first angel is Maya. The second is Mystique. The third is Seraphina. And the final is Rochelle. Shelley, I think so. Juan. Thibaut, did you sit on a dark brown couch? Cloth, not leather? Because I see a dark brown couch. I almost feel like it has a bit of pattern to it in my head. Or a darker color, and the predominant would be a brown or feel brown, neutral in some way, not dark chocolate brown. Because I feel like it's stuck there. Thank you, Scott. Hey, Melissa, welcome. Good to see Brooklyn in the house. Okay, here we go. 5 or 6 brown couches. They were all brown. Holy moly, you need to go back to that store and stick your hands inside the couches. Okay, Virgo, Maya is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Mystique is being joined by the Truth card. Seraphina is being joined by the Love card. And Rochelle is being joined by the Stag. Okay, so as I see this and I look at Virgo, I can't help but just open up to this broader picture, because Virgo represents service to others. It represents our health. It represents our pets. It represents our employment. And oftentimes I think that Virgo gets a little bit caught up in the other agenda, versus you get used to doing a certain job, you get used to having certain milestones which provide validation for your hard work. And I think that this last couple of years is starting to illuminate something for you in any one of these genres. So the full moon in Cancer, how are you taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself within your work environment? How are you taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself within your service to others? Even in the dynamic of, we could go to the pets thing. I don't think that's really the strongest vibration, but I almost want to say, does Virgo love themselves and treat themselves as kindly as they would their own pet? Because Maya is teaching you something about the truth right now. And the minute I saw the Truth card in the form of the Lady of the Lake, I thought there was a reason why I brought up anxiety. And if Mercury is retrograde right now, there may be some anxiety that is coming up, because there may be things that feel like they're floating around in the world or in your work environment or in how you're giving service to others. And I don't think it's happening directly around you. It almost feels like it's happening, directly to you. It feels like it's happening around you. And that sense of anxiety is bringing up a deeper truth that potentially this chapter or whatever that is not quite aligned anymore to what you want either. Mystique says to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. And then we have the Truth card again. And I want to offer this because in how today ended up happening where it happened is a long process of thought and deliberation and consideration, not just of my experience on the show and my tribe and how much I love them, but of my own fears and my own trepidation and my own aging process. And part of me, in some sort of weird vain way, was seeking out older people on YouTube to see their subscribership, to see their numbers. And what was I pretending about a certain dynamic that I don't live? I'm not in that chapter anymore. So people aren't going to tune into me for my beauty, that's for sure. And I was invalidating myself in some way. And I think that that's the brave move that precipitated before today. So I'm saying this because, Virgo, I think it's time for you to start displaying a little bit of loyalty to yourself, a little bit of, and even maybe the dog that bites people who aren't loyal to you, because it's time for you to start to step into a vibration, not of perfection for others, but of enjoying the journey of your own truth. Sometimes what the human, the human is oftentimes, it just goes into these black and white categories. Being of service the first thought anybody thinks is service to others. We don't think that by purporting our own happiness and our own healthy choices that we are being of service to others, because that's what's going to happen for you, Virgo. As you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming. And it's not just money, because money really isn't prosperity. Money can be many things, but prosperity, now, peace of mind is prosperity. Feeling fulfilled, not for what you have, but for what you feel valuable about. And that's where the true leadership will come in. So I want to offer this. As you walk through this retrograde, and not just the Mercury retrograde of your ruling planet, but as Venus continues to make her transit through Capricorn, and she continues to ask you, what you feel about your value. And are you diminishing that value in some way? Are you participating in the golden noose that's around your neck? And it isn't about jumping off a ledge either, because there's an opportunity that as you start to deliberate these things, the laws of attraction start to kick in, and the universe starts to give you signs of support. And you never know when, out of nowhere, just by opening up this line of thought, the universe creates a material experience that may not be the exact experience to move into, but shows you the viability of a move, the viability of an evolution. All right, here we go. On to our Leos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh yeah, okay. For a second, I thought I was. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Shelley, don't be looking for love in all the wrong places. Invite love in. Thank you, Spirit, for me meeting somebody who will have a mutual exchange of joy and pleasure and fun. I will enjoy their companionship. Their interests will be similar to mine. These kind of things. Because that's still looking for love. If you think about it, Shelley, there's this little sadness that lives underneath that statement of loss, that I don't have it. And that's a strong vibration, especially in the human. It dominates. Okay, Leo, our first angel is Athena. The second is Isabella. The third is Adriana. And the final is Rosetta. And I also want to offer this, because Spirit has shown me that many, many souls will meet their loves, experience their greatest professional successes, feel their most fulfillment in this life experience at later ages now, because it's part of the restructuring of how the human experiences the physical plane. And it's been out of alignment with what the true intention of this planet was. So, Leo, Merlin is joining Athena. Isabella's being joined by the novice. Adriana's being joined by the wind fairy. And Rosetta is being joined by the letting go card. All right, so this is what I want to say about this. The very first thing I think is that when I look at Athena and Merlin, this is about alchemy, justice, and balance. And this is the other thing. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my crazy coaster. Let your heart be light. I mean, this is one of the most famous Christmas sayings you'll ever see. And the way it hit me was like a ton of bricks, like I'd never seen it before, because what it said to me is, can I let my heart be light? Leo, what do you rule? The heart. It is safe for you to lovingly assert yourself that it is a just and balanced time for you to experience the things that you want. And while we have some action going on in your opposing sign of Aquarius, are those oppositions there to pull you under, or to actually create that warrior pose that without the opposition, there is no balance? Because yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. But a part of it is you allowing yourself to be the evolved version of yourself going into an old situation. Okay? Meaning, so if you've met somebody and you've fallen for somebody, or you have intrigue with somebody, your awareness of how you show up Do I start to find interest in someone, and then the minute I find interest in them, I start to feel the loss of them because every time I felt interest in someone before, they went away? This is now an opportunity, Leo, for there to be an evolved version, for you to say to yourself, well, I've been through that a few times before. So what I'm going to do is know that I got my back, and that my thought process, that what I'm putting out into the universe is as important as what I'm doing when I'm showing up on these dates. Because Adriana is saying to Leo, I'm leading you towards the answers to your prayers. Are you going to let your mind mess with you? Are you going to let your old pattern keep creeping up on you and saying, but this guy did this and that guy did that? And then the minute somebody even displays the smallest, inkling of that character, somebody goes nutty, right? Or not nutty, but their vulnerability gets kicked in and their insecurity gets kicked in. Because Leo, while you do root children, and I could talk about children, I'm going to talk about asserting yourself towards what you want, because there's the childlike innocence and the love, and the letting go card is moving away from fear. It's also the 44, which is allowing you to rebuild your home on a new platform, not based on naivete, but rather nurturing your inner child in a way that goes, I know the stove is hot. I know that when you touch the stove, you burn yourself. So we're not going to do that again. So that hunk of burning love coming my way that I can just see is dripping my old pattern. I'm not going to pretend that isn't my old pattern, and I'm not going to villainize it for my old pattern. I'm just going to sit in observation of it so that I know that if indeed those old habits start to show up, Spirit is actually giving me an opportunity to say, oh, been there, done that. I'm going to move over here. And then the minute that happens, whoosh, the right person can come in. You hear that story all the time about the back in the olden days, the 1900s, when people had to adopt instead of go to IV. And the minute they adopted a baby and all the pressure of having a baby was off, they'd end up conceiving naturally. That's what this is about for Leo with your love life, or whatever else you want to experience in the way of your joy, your pleasure, your empowerment, because it's time to stand up for those things. Okay, here we go. On to our Cancers. This is your moon. And you people are the ones I'm the most concerned with, feeling very emotional this week. And I don't want that Pluto opposition to take you too far down the rabbit hole of, the dark side. Because I really think that Pluto's trying to turn all of that septic waste into something more palatable. Okay, here we go. Oop. All right, here we go. Whoa. I'm just dropping cards. Go back. Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And if you have a Cancer stellium, you really have to work on balance of taking care of yourself. I'm just going to say. Because even intuitively, you'll be too Ariel. New psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world. Be open to prayer, study, and meditation. Here's Rosetta, representing your childlike innocence. There's Akasha, the teacher. The child wants to teach you. Oh, and there's Opal. Oh, this may be a lot more about children than I realize. Let's see. A lot going on with children in the world right now. And when I say that, I mean not just the shot, but also crimes against children, trafficking, some darkness has come up. So it's sometimes when an energy like Cancer and that nurturing maternal energy hears of the crimes perpetrated on others, it really gets them. It's not necessarily about it being on you. So what I'm talking about is I feel, and I'll pull the other part, but Cancer, I want you to be very careful with yourself during this full moon process, because the full moon is an illumination, and the illumination may really truly make you feel like, I can't take it anymore. And if it feels that way, honor that feeling, but I want you to hold back on taking action on it just yet. And I'll tell you why. Ariel's being joined by the partnership card. Rosetta's being joined by the love card. Akasha's being joined by the restriction card. And Opal's being joined by the king. So I'm going to take this into a general place. I'm not going to go too specific with the children, but I will say this. Right now, your intuition is getting a vibrational uplift. And I believe that this full moon and the new moon that started 6 months ago during Cancer was the beginning of you starting to view your intuition from a more empowered place than you were from a vulnerable place of being afraid. And I feel as if it's time to truly settle into the partnership with spirit. And that this is how you will understand that, sometimes the human will, they'll mock the peacekeeper, right? They'll mock the person who says, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And yet the vibration of fighting is a resistant energy. And the too much acquiescing of the love, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, isn't good either. And I say this because Ariel is about connection to spirit, and there's the partnership. And I want to offer it this way. I'm going to say something that may seem a little controversial right now, but during this time, we may see people that we love cross over, Bob Saget. And we may see people that were icons of our childhood crossing over too soon. And it brings this sense of vulnerability, or a sense of our mortality, a sense of something that emotionally is pulling on me. And I feel like there could be a sense of frustration around it. And at the very same time, there could be an understanding that many like that could potentially be demonstrating love, to re-engage us in a time when of a more loving innocence. I absolutely believe that we're going to have some boomerang effect of like, let me put it in musical terms. Rap and all the sort of heavy beated bump, 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 bump music has had its place. But as we start to see things shift to a more humanitarian thing, I think we're going to go back to the harmonies of like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a girl named Tom. They just won The Voice. That kind of sound, family harmonies, family people together, that kind of thing. So I want to offer this because as Cancer sits in this energy of like a bigger picture of that, sometimes disruption is actually bring us to a place of balance, because the angels are in the angels' advice is Akasha the teacher and the restriction card. And I feel like this is about taking a pause so that you can see that sometimes what appears to be dark is really love course correcting. Again, this is where I was sort of drawn to the movie The Shack, which is so much about the darkness of the human, the dark side of humanity, and how sometimes there are unseen wounds there that perpetrate that. Because I believe we're going to see more justice and balance to our children, and that God is in charge of it. And if for some reason, Cancer, you don't have to be a parent to emote for the children that have suffered. When not Columbine, was it Columbine? No, was it the one where the boy went into the school and he killed all those little 6-year-old children a few years back? I can't remember. I can see the kid's face. I don't think it was Columbine. Maybe it was. It was terrifying to me in the onset. I was so horrified by it. And then when I went into meditation and got into connection with spirit, they showed me all of these children as they were crossing and leaving the physical body, bursting into these huge energies like angels, like Archangel Michael. And I would see these huge wings as they ascended, because they were really on a much bigger, the one in Connecticut, much bigger mission, and to illuminate the imbalance of things. So I'm asking Cancer during this moon, I'm getting chills everywhere, to try to rise above the situations, to see the wisdom beyond it, because I think that there's more disruption coming in order to create the balance. And I am concerned about some of the things that are being said are good. Sandy Hook. Thank you, Shelley. Dang it, I couldn't get that in my head. That was the one. So I really want you to know that as the maternal energy, as the intuitive energy, Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, you will feel and see the justice and the love that these souls are facilitating as we experience some of the disruption and balance moving forward. Just saying. All right, let's go on to our Geminis, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. That, I have to say, that was truly one of the most amazing meditations. And I want to tell you this too. It's not like a movie, you guys. I don't get to like bask in this feeling of the angels. It's more like a blip of a second in these kind of moments within the madness. And then there's this great feeling of solace. There's a great feeling of wisdom beyond it. And a reverence, I guess, is the word I want to use. I think those children would be almost adults by now. All right, here we go. Gemini, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. The nodes are leaving your sign. I didn't think of that when we were doing Sagittarius. That sounds like fun, Shelley. Oh my goodness. I need a little barbecue on that, and we got a perfect night. All right, here we go. Gemini, our first angel is Ray. The second is Rosetta. The third is Opal. And the final is Fiona. Well, isn't that interesting? Opal and Rosetta, again, same coming out. I just, a week before Sidney Poitier passed away, I watched To Sir with Love. As a child, that movie was like I was stunning. That movie changed me as a young child. Beautiful the way it was done. It was such a beautiful subtlety of judgment and how people compartmentalize even to their own limitation. So here we go. Gemini, joining Ray is the Hawk. Rosetta is being joined by the High Priestess. Opal is being joined by the Queen. And Fiona is being joined by the Cat. Okay. Hey, Molly, did I see you there somewhere? Welcome. All right. Gemini. Ray talks about connecting with spirit, and that your true power comes from your ability to connect your voice and your heart together. And in some respects, it's not about quieting the mind. It's about observing the mind. It's about, Mercury's your ruling planet. Mercury whips around the zodiac, chasing the sun around. And in some respects, in the fast motion, it doesn't get an opportunity to truly see what's going on within your own world, your own happiness, etc. So I think this is really going to be a strong time during this full moon phase for you to sit in meditation, and or if you don't like to meditate, I would say a nature walk, being out in nature. Even if you live in a city, just observing the types of creatures that cross your path. And, it could be sparrows, blue jays, crows. And if you're lucky enough to live out in where there's greenery, it could be owls, hawks, squirrels, badgers. Paying attention to these animal totems, I think, is super important, because I feel as if Spirit is really digging into Gemini and asking you to be childlike and let your intuition come through, to kind of get out of the mercurial human mind and get into a more intuitive place. Because, and this is why I don't think this is about children right now, because in the angel's advice is the Queen, which is a receptive energy. And then we have Opal, which is about God taking care of his children. And I think this is for you, because if indeed you have been in a situation that you feel a little trapped in, if you feel a little like, I don't know if, I don't want to take any chances with this unsure environment we're all in all the time. It's understandable, which is why you want to connect with spirit and give yourself an opportunity to look for the synchronicities, look for the coincidences that add up to signals and omens and signs, because God is preparing you for this next chapter of what you want. And you're going to have a certain amount of believing in 9 lives, believing that this can happen for you. I have a client who is a Gemini sun and very much wants to move forward in some of the markers of life. And, has started preparation for those markers while not being able to see them. And so it's great to make a preparation, but it's most always best to look at the vibration of the preparation, because I think Spirit is really asking Gemini, how much do you believe in your 9 lives? Because you might be having a little trouble. And this moon might, in some ways, make you think that, when things do change, they only change, by blowing up. And I don't think that necessarily has to be true. I think it's a little bit about, as you're looking to adjust what is out of balance, starting to include in your prayers, thank you for making this easy on me. Thank you for making this an effortless transition. Thank you for bringing all my tribe members to my channel. I'm so happy. Thank you. All right, let's go on to our Taurus. Okay, Taurus. We have Uranus stationing at 10 degrees. Anybody in mid-Taurus right now is feeling it. And I'm telling you, I kind of think sometimes that Uranus really can be like a Mercury crazy retrograde with electronics, because it does crazy things. So I want to offer it this way, because Taurus likes things that are steady. Taurus like Venus, enjoys good food, enjoys comfortable surroundings, good conversation, great music. I would imagine a great Venusian or Taurus night would be, good drink, good food, good company, and good song and entertainment. So as Uranus starts to continue to move through Taurus, I think this is an opportunity for Taurians, my moon included, to look at where I've thought I was safe, or where I thought that I would be considered or find value. And maybe that's just not quite the same way. And I want to offer this too, because sometimes when we implement healthy boundaries, we think we're creating a disruption, and the disruption happens. And then somehow the disruption comes back around where the parties can reconcile it. And so the disruption serves to actually fuel a better connection between the two parties or the two situations. That's why it's so important to be mostly focused on your perception, your perspective of the situation. Because if your perception goes into a historic place, this always happens to me. People always disvalue me. I can't believe I got ghosted again. Your focus on that is the co-creation. So you're like, if you shift your perception, Taurus, to say, well, if she ghosted me, sayonara, because apparently there's bigger things going on, then the universe can bring bigger things going on. That's how that works. All right, here we go. Taurus, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Liberation is amongst us. Oop. Melissa, does your husband, is he a good cook? Does he like to garden? Does he like to go hiking? I wouldn't mind marrying somebody who's a good cook. I watched this new show on the New Magnolia Network called The Lost Kitchen. Now I want to go to freaking Maine for a meal. All right, here we go. Taurus, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Ariel. The second is Fiona. The third is Bethany. And the final is Omega. So as I say this, I can't help but think that Capricorn is trining Taurus right now. So there could be some as Venus starts her, I don't know what degree she's at right now. I didn't make a note, but I'm pretty sure that she's kind of in the earlier degrees of Capricorn. I'm not sure if she's gone all the way to the ninth degree, but she's going to end up having a trine conversation in some way with Uranus in Taurus. So the ruling planet of Taurus having a harmonious yet enlightening conversation with Uranus. This could be very much, are you valuing yourself? Are you willing to demonstrate your value? Do you trust your value? Do you trust your own path? Because we have the bee, the card of victory and good luck, joining Ariel, the connection to spirit. Fiona's being joined by the queen, receiving. Bethany's being joined by the lady of the lake. So when you have the courage to take care of yourself at a deeper, deeper level. And then there's Omega being joined by the high priestess. First of all, I love this spread because both times the connection to spirit is what's moving the story forward. The connection to spirit is not one of all knowing. I believe in you, spirit. Thank you. Thank you. No, the connection to spirit is, damn it, I lost my wallet, spirit. Thank you for restoring my faith in my finances by having me find my wallet. I'm going to go back to that furniture store and I'm going to let my intuition lead me to which one of those 6 or 7 brown couches I sat on and put my hands in the, because I think it might be there, because you have victory coming in your connection to spirit. And I want to offer this too, because as a Taurus, I think that spirit is asking you to dig deeper into women's intuition, to allow Venus to talk to you in a different way, not about your value, but in about trusting the inner knowing that says my value may not be showing up right now in this particular moment, but it's coming. Because Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. It's coming through the illumination that you don't receive by pushing into, but rather sitting calmly and receptively in your deeper truth. Because that might be hard for Taurus right now, because their sense of security may be fighting with their inner knowing. And the inner knowing is that I'm not really as secure as I wish I was. I'm really not as secure. I know what it really feels like when I feel security or I feel loved by another or I feel valued in a situation. Because when you start to trust your intuition, Taurus, you're going to have victory. And this is going to be what the real change is. Because again, I don't think that words teach. I think experience really teaches. So as we have put away some of our more bullish energies, our more stubborn energies to open for a new space, then we start to experience those new spaces. Then people go, well, gosh, she's kind of stubborn and it could change for her. Maybe it could change for me. Or if indeed people start to, or you start to see the truth of your woman's intuition, your Venusian intuition coming in, then you're like, I'm willing to allow spirit to bring me experiences to validate that, and I'll be brave enough to walk through them, because there's going to be something that requires your bravery. All right, let's go on to our Aries, our final sign, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I'm going to say it, guys. I hope you've all subscribed and hit the notification button. Now that I'm here, I'm going to do a lot more fun things. I think I was getting a little burnt out, which is why I was feeling like calling in sick all the time. So I want a chef husband too, with a side of masseuse. Foot rubs. Okay, here we go. I cook for my dog too, and he doesn't even appreciate it. Such a spoiled brat. All right, Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Are we loving Aries energy right now? Because there's little things going on, like, Eris is and Chiron. Pardon me. Okay. I bring that up because Aries, I love me some Aries. But I also feel like, for me personally, part of my big life path is diplomacy, is fighting the urge to lob off somebody's head when I think they're stupid and to wait for a bigger illumination because I could be wrong. So if Pluto's been messing with you over there up in Capricorn, it isn't about trying to pull you under. It's about, in some ways, if you're being really truthful to your heart, if your actions are indicating that. And sometimes I think, when I get really angry and I get out of my conscious mind, I don't think I'm pleasant to argue with. I think I'm a little bit too good with my vocabulary and I can annihilate somebody. And my job is like, do I want to be influential? Do I want to affect the situation positively? Or do I just want to vent and barf my anger? Because for Aries, that's an important question to ask yourself. Because sometimes once you've let it go, you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube. And that's what I think Pluto's been asking for a long time. Because Pluto's all about truth, and so is Mars. Oh, all right. Aries, our first angel is Archangel Raphael. The second is Rosetta. The third is Mystique. And the final is Omega. Oh my goodness. Yay. When I look at Archangel Raphael on the card, I can't help but notice this huge illumination around his crown chakra. And he's being joined by the mystery card, which represents choice. Rosetta is being joined by the Queen. Mystique is being joined by the Truth. And Omega is being joined by the restriction card. I want to say this because this epiphany that I think our Archangel Raphael represents, everyone talks about physical healing with Archangel Raphael. But, how effective can this angel actually be on our physical body if our mind keeps interrupting it? If our mind keeps telling a contrary story to what Spirit is trying to show us in the way of our own empowerment. So I feel like there's going to be a healing, an opportunity for an epiphany for Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums about their choices. And it's going to bring, Cancer being a warm and loving energy, I think it may feel a little bit like a blanket, like a warm blanket on a cold day, because now you're more willing to stand in reception and own who you are. And this Rosetta about parenting, teaching, about guiding children, to me is really very powerful, because what I see here is guidance through receptivity, guidance through surrender, guidance through serenity that trusts Spirit. So if something interruptive happens, there's a bigger wisdom to it, because Spirit is saying to Aries, keep charging ahead towards your truth, towards your truth. What is the truth of your intention? And honestly, I think most Aries are very altruistic. I think sometimes we can get a little lost. We get frustrated that things don't happen as quickly as we want them to. But more times than not, Aries is, to me, Mars is the general that works with the king of the sun in cooperation and support of it. So I want to offer this. Your victory, Aries, comes not from restriction, but from your willingness to slow down long enough for Spirit to illuminate your choices. And, sometimes when we feel frustrated, unseen, unheard, not validated, we want to go back to that situation and scream of our validity, to scream of our value. It doesn't work. So I think that this is a very powerful tool. I feel like part of my work here in astrology is about really evolving these planets into a place where we talk more about the high vibrations they offer us and the low vibrations that pull us under. So this week, I want you to all be very gentle with yourselves, as you may be emotional and you may find yourself having a knee-jerk reaction to information that comes to you that was otherwise unknown in the physical world. And with Pluto ruling that information, it could be information on the media, it could be information in your personal life, it could be information about a friend. And I feel like be mindful of how you process that information and always look for the wisdom behind the disruption, because you can't have a hero without a villain. Can't have day without night. Can't have good without bad. Can't have lots of things without their opposite. Hey, Brandon, I'm so glad you found us. Well, this is about it for this week. I talked a lot again. Thank you so much. You guys have made my heart feel warm and cozy and safe and loved. I was really super nervous about today. I will be looking forward to hearing that Thibaut found his wallet, which will be a sign that his finances are coming back. He's going to go into that going, I'm going to find that thing today. It's just going to show up. And I will be back here on my channel next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm going to spend all week thinking of fun things to keep you guys entertained and excited. And we're going to do some giveaways again. All right, guys, if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can find me on my website, www.terihunter.com. My information is below. If you're in the United States, feel free to text. If you are international, please email me. All right, everybody, have a great week. Peace out.